Hi, everybody. Dr. Amy Hayek here, president of Animal Chiropractic Education Source, here because we are offering the new adventure in animal chiropractic continuing education with Basecamp Pro. And today with me here is Melissa Gerber from Cavanti Corporation. They have kind of near and dear to our hearts online software for animal chiropractors. And they are one of our great sponsors for the Basecamp Pro. They're going to be with us through this whole journey, which really actually starts for animal chiropractors the day they register for Basecamp Pro. Because from that day on, the bonuses start coming in and they get to experience some new adventures every single week from now until the actual conference. So Melissa, if you would please let us know. Tell us about Cavanti and what its mission is and what you guys are up to.
Well, thanks so much, Dr. Amy, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. Cavanti is, as you say, it's an online medical record keeping device for animal chiropractors, animal massage therapists, and many other practitioners that use different modalities on animals. We've been around for about 8 years or so. We started, we bootstrapped all the way through. So we started small and found that this was a great big need out there. My co-founder Gemma and I, we came at this from very different places, but strangely walked a very similar pathway. I, in my former life, was a molecular biologist. I spent 15 years in Australia doing molecular characterization of human cancers, and moved out to California to work on sequencing technology out here. I then had my little girl and decided my husband and I couldn't both have crazy careers and wanted to be a stay-at-home mum. That lasted all of about 5 minutes, and I ended up going out and getting certified in equine muscle release therapy, which is an Australian technique. It's very similar to Bowen, and started working on animals. Quickly found that the note-taking was a nightmare. And one of the things that's particularly difficult with these horses in heavy training, I found, is that they're changing so much as their training progresses, their bodies change so much, and keeping up with that and tracking change over time was a nightmare. That nightmare was the same for my co-founder, Gemma, who was a software developer in her former life, and came out here and basically did the same thing. She got burned out in her career and took herself off and did the equinology course. We found each other about 3 stables apart in the same barn, cursing for the same reason as horses were eating notepads and paper and whatever else. Gemma had written herself a prototype of what Cavanti is today, just to try and keep track of all of the horses and what she was finding. I saw it and said, please, God, give it to me too. She did, made a few tweaks. We've made a few more tweaks. A chiropractor friend of ours saw it and says, please, can I have it too? And it basically overtook our lives. It just really spread like a little known secret from there. So yeah, it was a strange beginning, but that's where this came from. We're now, well, the software, you know very well, we've got millions of sessions in the system now. We've got thousands of accounts. We're worldwide. It's been an astonishing journey.
That's pretty awesome. And,
yeah.
And I love the way that it turned out as you had a need that filled other people's needs in such a complete way, or in such a way that helped them to, do the things that they need to do.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the software, because it did actually come from our own need. We do have a sympathy and an understanding for where the gaps are in the system. So I think that, and we still to this day develop this thing to the customer needs. We get a lot of feedback from our customers, and we really encourage it, because we really do, and are busy doing so at the moment. We develop this on the backs of their customer input and what they need and what they don't need, more importantly.
One of the things I like about it is it's so good at keeping communication lines open among everybody who's involved with that animal. So
right, every animal has it's animal based, not human based. So the whole system is hung off the animal. So the animal has a contacts list. It's not humans with animal lists. And that enables you to associate all sorts of professionals with that animal, whether it be the vet, the chiropractor, the owner, the trainer, the saddle fitter. Everybody in that animal's world can be associated with the animal and get all the reports as they come out. And, you know, it's a very visual program. The reports that come out have very big diagrams and they're very obvious.
Yeah, when we've used it in our practice, we found that.
There's a few different views.
Yeah,
I think it's nice for animal owners.
Yeah, we found that the animal owners love that.
Anatomical expert. They do. And I have clients that are cursing me because the owners love it completely. And they know I have to keep up these very detailed reports because it's the new expectation. So, but it's very obvious. Anyone can look at these diagrams and say, aha, there's something going on, middle of the back on the left.
Yeah, I think it's great that it does that. And I love that it communicates to people, professionals that are associated with that animal that really have no idea what you're doing to the animal.
Right. And the chiropractic particularly, it's always interesting because everyone who touches, particularly these horses that are in work, and I'm a rider myself, so I know it from my own little world, but everyone who has their hands on that animal does have an impact on that animal and how it's performing, particularly at these higher levels, whether you're a shoer or a saddle fitter or a chiropractor. As a rider, you can feel it, and all of the other professionals around that horse should be able to see and feel it as well. And it does bring it together in a way that it makes a lot more sense when you have the full picture. And again, you can track that change over time. So you can see, all right, I've got pads on the horse now. Someone put a wedge on the front left. Well, the shoulder is not right now. So you can really start to track what is working for the horse or not working for the horse and get everyone communicating on the same page.
Mm-hmm. I know that, and we've used it in dogs too, and dog owners like to see those changes as well. Dog owners sometimes are worse because they're with their dog all the time, so They notice every little thing. I mean, and worse in a good way, I guess, but because of that. So, and right now they're with them 24/7. So there you go.
Isn't that the truth? I had to shoo about half a dozen cats out of the office before we started recording. So yeah, I have some sympathy.
So tell me how you have seen over the 8 years of Cavanti growing, how has it helped animal chiropractors build their practices? Have you noticed that? Have you been able to see that on the backside where you're seeing sessions come in?
We do, and it's been fascinating. We started this adventure with a pretty preconceived notion of how the world of chiropractic and other modalities looked, and we were dead wrong. There's a lot of different types of practitioners have very different businesses, and what surprised us a lot, I think, is just the diversity of people out there who have their hands on animals professionally, and how they're finding and how they're working the software, because it's actually quite flexible. You can customize it to whatever you're doing, and watching how that customization is changing over time has been fascinating. It's we always thought we were the mobile software, that there's a mobile app associated with it. We would see these sole practitioners driving the streets, seeing about 12 or so animals a day, adjusting them and going home. And that's the minority of how this is used these days. It's a lot of people start out and you can see how they change over time. We like yourself, we tend to start with a lot of the education providers, because if you get off on a digital footprint when you're first starting your business, life is a lot easier for you. The whole point is Cavanti should be invisible to you, and it should just take your paperwork away from you.
Yes.
So we'll see people growing their businesses because we have a few different plans. We've got a plan that's the base plan when they're first starting out, even from the free trial that we offer. And through these promotions through education providers, that free trial is quite long. So we'll actually watch the number of sessions in a business growing over time. And interestingly, most will plateau out at a certain level, and that can change business to business. And then they'll make a change. They'll introduce laser or acupuncture or some other modality, or they'll do something different, start doing dogs. and then we'll see an uptick again. So it's really interesting to see the way people adapt in their businesses as they go forward. That's been fascinating. It's also fascinating just to see the sort of data that we're getting in there. We have all sorts of species in the system. I've got capybara in there from a zoo. I've got lions and monkeys and tamarins. I've got gerbils. I've got
Wow.
budgerigars. I've got the most amazing assortment of animals in there. And we never expected that. We offer templates for horses, dogs, and cats, but there are thousands of animals in that system. It's fascinating.
That is awesome that it's just so flexible that people can do whatever they want with it and still,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and
That's
still,
the line we're trying to walk, and it's not always easy. And I think other people who have tried to, do this in other ways have found it very quickly. It's a complicated field. You're recording a lot of very detailed and often quite complicated data that makes up a picture that is an animal, a living organism. And actually recording all that is tricky. It's very, very difficult to get the level of detail that's required by the practitioners without making the software just unusable and very complicated and very complex. And we're very deliberate in walking that line between complexity and detailed. And we're down to the point where we'll count the number of clicks that you need to do on a standard workflow. If you have to take more than 2 or 3 clicks to get it done, we got it wrong. So we're very deliberate trying to keep that simplicity of use, but keeping it complex and flexible enough so that it can be used by everybody.
that's awesome. And you touched on like the corner of a topic that I happen to be doing a lot of reading in lately, and that is the melding between for lack of a better term, industrialization and animal production, because it's really hard to do those two things. I mean, you cannot. It's really difficult to industrialize animal agriculture because animals have lives like people, and
Right.
and it seems like you're walking that line pretty well. You're doing a really good job of making it as close to efficient and with that efficiency making it so that the animal chiropractor actually has more time and makes more money.
Well, thank you. That's our goal. And we always say we should be invisible. This program is not the point of anybody's day. And if any program becomes the point of your day, it's not working for you. And that includes paper. So if you're wasting your time in any inefficient part of your business, then you're not making money. And it really is as simple as that. So invoicing should be just a click or two. The receipt should just be another click away from that. The actual recording, that's why we made that mobile app. It's a very streamlined, cut down version of the full software, because it really is just for the chiropractor to stand in front of the animal and just tap and very quickly get things recorded without having to make a brouhaha about it. It is difficult, and often it's more about taking things out than putting them in. It's keeping that simplicity is one of the hardest things that we do. It's very easy to record data. It's very difficult to not make that the point. It's too easy to make it transactional. You have to click here, and then you click there, and then you click over here, and now I'm lost 4 clicks down there, and I can't get back to where I was, and now it crashes. So it's more about making what you need right there under your fingertips and not having any clutter in there to go with it. And it's often challenging. But that's the challenge we set ourselves.
Awesome. One of the things I always like about using the Cavanti software is I can do it on my phone, because I have been paperless since the beginning of my practice 20 years ago. And I didn't want to add any more clutter when I added animal chiropractic. And so what happened for me was I went from a laptop with a printer in the car to a laptop, because now because as things evolved, I could email invoices. And actually, when I adopted the Cavanti software, I went from a laptop to my phone. and got
Yes.
rid of the laptop.
It's interesting, and that's another part that's been fun because we can see what sort of devices are on the system, and there are thousands of different combinations of devices and whatnot, and I have two very clear camps, actually three very clear camps in the Cavanti ecosystem. There are people like you who are very adept with their thumbs and can get things done on a phone in no time flat. I find that convenient with the horses, but I rarely work on anybody anymore. But there is nothing more fascinating to a horse nose than an electronic device.
Yes, there's that.
The number of iPads that have ended up in troughs, I can't even begin to tell you. But the phone, I can tuck in my pocket very quickly, still have the session open, get both hands on the animal, without the phone, tap in the finding, get the phone back in my pocket, and it's relatively safe. I have to admit, though, my thumbs are very clumsy, so I still prefer my iPad. So I do take an iPad mini into the stables, which I very elegantly tuck in the back of my belt while I'm working. And so I have both of those people that work in the system, and then there are the people who just want to come home with a glass of wine on a large screen and just get their day's work done at the end of the day. And so we have to kind of accommodate all three camps and make sure it's as usable and as easy on all platforms. And that's, from a mobile app development standpoint, that's often fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's got to be such variety that you have to kind of run back and forth.
I could sell my firstborn if Apple would just leave iOS alone for an entire year. I swear. Much easier.
That's funny. One of the other things that I remember, I don't go out and do as much mobile practice as I used to because the school is growing so much. But one of the other things I really enjoyed was that we could upload documents. And I think this was an evolution of practice in school. Was the more we were teaching, the more we realized we needed to teach our clients. And so we started uploading more and more documents into Cavanti so that when we sent the invoice, they could also get documents that were things like how to get the hooves trimmed correctly, how to take their temperature, all those kinds of things. And that was one of the things I loved because you can only tell a client so many times and they won't remember by the time they get home. But if they have a document that comes with their email, then they can review it and have a better idea of what you're asking them to do.
Yeah, I think too it's handy for a lot of different type of people in the way they work. For example, the canine physiotherapists that are doing a lot of recovery work, they have a lot of exercise sheets that go home. So you can attach those exercise sheets. For the horses, if you've got certain stretches that you want them to do, you can attach that to it. You can upload anything as long as it's not a video or a virus into the documents folder. And as you say, you can select those when you send out the session report. So the clients get all of the information they need at the same time they get their results. So and we're expanding on that. So there's a big year for us for development. We've lessons learned, and we've learned a lot. We are taking all we know, and we're doing a big revamp of the system. So current users would have noticed there's once a month or so, there's an outage on I think it's 1 a.m. on a Sunday morning as we're updating all the infrastructure in the background. And we're going to be doing a lot of releases, and there's a lot of fun stuff on the way.
So that brings me to that question is, so for people who are registering for Basecamp, we know, so those who register for Basecamp now are getting bonuses all the way until November. And I know that that Cavanti has put up a huge bonus for them for free sessions or extra sessions with their product. So that was really a generous bonus to add for those people who are either using Cavanti or want the opportunity to try it. So if they register for Basecamp now, number one, you've taken care of your CE for the year, you're already set. And number two, you get all these bonuses with it. And it sounds to me like you've got something up your sleeve to share with Basecamp attendees as well with regard to these newbies.
We sure do. We've got 2 offers that are associated with Basecamp. If you are a new user, you can sign up for an extended free trial. We're offering 4 months instead of the usual 14 days. And we're giving you 100 free sessions with that. So that is a lot more than most of the education trials that we hand out. So that's the first offer. That'll be up and available. And Basecamp registered Basecamp attendees will get that information. That will be available on the 1st of June. And that will stay going all the way through till Basecamp. The second thing we're offering for existing people, if you sign up before the offer ends, so actually subscribe, or you're a current subscriber, we're going to give you 100 bonus slush sessions into your account. So all of the attendees or registered attendees will get all that information as it comes out. So those are the 2 offers that we have going. And the other thing we do for people who are registered as part of it, we're going to do a little webinar or something similar. We're going to demonstrate and do some demos for some of the cool new stuff that we've been spending all of our time doing. And we've got new products coming and we've got a lot of new features coming. So we're going to do a little sneak peek for the Basecamp attendees and hopefully do some walkthroughs. There's a little bit of paint that still needs to be put on the walls and there's a little bit of dusting that needs to be done in the corners before it's ready to go live. But we will certainly have something to sneak peek. I'm really looking forward to that, actually. That'll be good fun. We've been working hard and it'll be fun to show it off.
Oh, I think that'll be great. I think that for those people who register now, that they'll definitely, once they get that extra sneak peek, they'll be pretty excited because, I mean, it's already great software. And so to add those extra bonus things, I mean, let's face it, they're already facing some challenges now with seeing patients and seeing clients. It sounds like this is going to make their life easier because they won't have to spend that extra time in the barn or with the client if they don't need to, that they would be able to have better communication with less time.
Exactly. And more into the sneak peek, more integration with other things in your life that are associated with your business. So we're going to be doing a lot of integration into other areas to, as you say, to make your life even more streamlined. So there is even less time outside of actual hands-on time on the animal, which is the money time. That should be all you're doing. There should be very little time spent doing anything else. So we're very focused on getting the practitioners practicing rather than running around.
That is awesome. I'm excited about it because, we always say if they have to spend more than 15 minutes with the animal, they're wasting their time and the animal's time. And
if we get in the way of that, 15 minutes is not long. And I agree with you. It doesn't take that long if your hands are wise to adjust. And if Cavanti or any other software is making that longer, then we've missed by a long shot.
That is definitely awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa, for spending time with me today and giving us some of the backstory on what's going on with this software, but also helping our listeners understand how you're moving forward, especially now when they need that support and information.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to do it. It's been fun.
We are looking forward to some of the other things that come out between now and November 13th for Basecamp. And of course, we're definitely going to be on our watch for that webinar or whatever it turns out to be that gives us the sneak peek behind the scenes and what's coming up in the new software.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
I think that'll definitely be, I know these people are going to love it because what you guys do is always great, but I think that's going to be kind of, it's going to be, I almost want to say it's like the cartoon before the movie, but I don't mean it that way. It's like the fun part.
Yeah, it is too. And look, it's challenging, but it's what we do, and we have fun doing it. And there's some fun stuff coming out, and we've waited a little while. We made sure, we hope we know where we're going, and I hope none of the lessons we've learned have been wasted on us. So I'm looking forward to it.
So where can people find out more about Cavanti and
Our
the
website is a
software.
good start. That's www.cavanti.com. You can get yourself a free trial on there. We don't take your credit card on the free trial. It really is a free trial. We do not get your information and sell it. We won't spam you. It really is a legit free trial. Check it out. You can also log us a ticket if you have any questions. Support@cavanti.com is the best way to get that done. But really, there's nothing like a test drive, and we've tried to make it as intuitive as possible. So get your hands in there, get your hands on it, and see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing some time with me.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah, will do.